This is your evening news update for Tuesday, December 28th. So glad you could join us. Callous and reckless. That's how Opposition Leader Bishop Joseph Adely views Prime Minister Mia Mottley's decision to call a snap general election on January 19, 2022. At a news conference today, the leader of the People's Party for Democracy insisted there's no reason to call an election in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
But I say it's callous and it's reckless, and it is not in the interest of Barbadians, and it's not necessary a year and a half, unless you're facing down some crisis. What crisis are we facing down now that we did not face down a year ago? What crisis are we facing down now, according to her, that we will not be facing down later on in this year? The big thing for us is COVID, and I'm no prophet. I can't say that in a year and a half, COVID will be gone totally from us. But what I do know is that at today's date, a year and a half away election, there can't be any reason for you to expose Barbadians to that unless it's some crass political advantage and consideration that you have on your mind.
He also challenged Mottley's statements that she called the poll because the country is divided and there is need to unite around a common cause, a single government, and a single leader.
Government with 29 people in the lower house and 12 representatives in the upper house. That's 41 people. So what are you telling us, that you're calling election because you need to have one government? There's but one government. When I hear that call, in the context of the reality that we live, what I'm hearing is a call for one-partyism in Barbados. Single-partyism in Barbados. It would seem as though the Prime Minister wants that her voice is the only voice that is heard. It would seem as though the Prime Minister wants that the government can dictate to us on everything, and the people of Barbados can't raise a voice in query, or a voice in contradiction, or a voice in expression of an alternative view. That is looking to have a one-party state in Barbados. Pray tell me, friends, where in Barbados do we see more than any one government existing right now?
Barbadians have been weighing in on the snap poll. A BT News team took to Bridgetown, and this is the people's say.
The powers that be have a choice to do whatever they want to. I mean, hey, if she calls it snap election, it might be something that she wants to see being go forward in Barbados. Or, hey, we just live with it, you know. These things happen all over the world, and Barbados is no different. So whether you do or you die, you still have to do.
I did anticipate that it would come the earlier part of 2022. I didn't quite anticipate January, so it was a little sudden for me.
What are your initial thoughts from the Prime Minister's talk about what they have done, went into the election campaign? Think it's too short? Think it's what do you think about the entire thing?
I think given the reality of the situation in the country, I think it's reasonable to expect it from a political standpoint to come at this time, because decisions do need to be made going forward, and you will want a mandate to do that. So the earlier, the better. So you can make those lightly hard decisions that need to be made going into 2022, 2023.
It's a brilliant move, and she's thinking, and she has her plan. She understands politics, and I think she's a good Prime Minister.
Great. She will win all the seats.
You think so?
All positive.
Okay. What was your assessment of the administration so far?
Some of them need a little more work. But when election come, we get all the seats.
Candidates from the two main political parties hit the ground running this morning in the rural parish of St. John, currently held by the Barbados Labour Party's Charles Griffith. Rival Andre Worrell of the Democratic Labour Party and his team was out and about in venture number 3 speaking to residents. Worrell declares he wants to bring home the seat, claiming that the current MP has failed to deliver.
They're recognizing that they have not necessarily got their fair share of the pie in this election, and also their complaints about the representative being distant or not available or not necessarily treating them in the right way. My approach is, I am a resident of St. John, to work with the people of St. John. I'm a humble person, and I understand the challenges of St. John residents, and I want to work to make sure that St. John residents get their fair share of the economic pie.
But Charles Griffith is focused on securing a second term to advance his achievements. He says the BLP has delivered to St. John and is set to do even more.
Infrastructural work has been done in several communities within the constituency. Households have been impacted in terms of jobs. Households have been impacted in terms of pit toilets being moved from that into waterborne facilities. Am I finished? Of course not. There's still a lot to be done on this political journey. And this new campaign will embark on trying to complete a number of the projects that are still outstanding in St. John. I have roads to be fixed. I have a couple of pit toilets that are still to be replaced. We have roads, like I said, that are really, really outstanding. The park at Poolwoods is to be fixed. The old polyclinic is still to be converted into a vendor's mall. So these are some of the projects that are still in the pipeline for the constituency of St. John.
And now for today's COVID-19 update, the island recorded 112 new cases, 50 males and 62 females, from the 705 tests conducted on Monday. Of the new cases, 14 individuals were under the age of 18, and the other 98 were 18 years and older. There were 111 persons in isolation facilities and 874 others in home isolation. The number of lives lost to the virus remains at 260.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Christian Paul. I'm the country manager of BCIC here in Barbados. When the COVID vaccine first came out, I thought it was an interesting and a potentially successful way for us to navigate our way out of the pandemic and a return to some state of normalcy. I took the vaccine because I have a young family. I want to make sure that they are safe and protected. I have friends, extended family, and obviously I work here with colleagues, so I thought it was a good way to help protect them and to keep them safe, as well as myself. I would encourage others to take the vaccine because I know that you can still transmit the disease even if you're vaccinated, but the chances of being severely ill or worse, dying, are significantly reduced.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
To regional happenings in Jamaica, new research shows that most Jamaicans do not trust the motive behind government's vaccination drive, resulting in continued low take-up. The research was conducted by the Northern Caribbean University. Ocean Masters of Television Jamaica has the details.
A target of 65% vaccination by March 2022 is in jeopardy as fewer Jamaicans are going for the jab locally. Only about 19% of Jamaicans have been vaccinated against COVID-19. But why is that? Director of Institutional Research at Northern Caribbean University, NCU, Paul Bourne, says that has to do with trust.
We are seeing that only 19.3% of Jamaicans trust the government, and many persons do not. Many persons think that there is a sinister motive behind the vaccination. So if they do not trust the government and they think that the campaign has some other plan or some other thing to do with it, then what is happening is that they are going to be reluctant to be vaccinated.
Mr. Bourne says, based on the research from his team, approximately 64% of Jamaicans believe that there is an ulterior motive behind the vaccine initiative. Based on that fact, he says the government should not be the ones leading the charge.
Because 7 out of every 10 Jamaicans say that they will be vaccinated if they think the vaccination is working or if they think the scientists are coming out and actually letting them be told what the vaccination is all about.
On the international front, France has announced new COVID-19 measures in a bid to stem a surge in infections as concerns rise worldwide over the rapid spread of the highly transmissible Omicron variant. Elsewhere in Europe, several countries have opted to roll out new measures, while the UK government has ruled out any new measures in England, despite recorded infections passing the 100,000 mark in recent days.
The Christmas and New Year holiday period was always likely to speed the advance of the Omicron variant, and so it is proving. In the UK, a record 129,000 new infections were reported on Tuesday, but the government's decision not to disrupt New Year celebrations and instead to emphasise vaccine booster shots reflects positive signs that hospital admissions and death numbers aren't rising with the same intensity.
We're looking at the data and we wouldn't hesitate to act if we saw that the data told us that we needed to introduce further measures, but so far that's not what the data is telling us.
The cautious optimism that Omicron may be less of a threat than the previous Delta variant isn't being embraced everywhere. Countries like the Netherlands, Austria and Denmark are under varying degrees of lockdown, and in Spain a wave of new infections has provoked such public concern that free COVID-19 tests are running out. France, though, is holding its nerve, also promoting vaccine booster shots as the first line of defence. It's reduced the required delay before getting a booster from 4 months to 3.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.